Let's go, Denver Broncos. We get even more great news after the Denver Broncos triumphantly stomp all over the New Orleans Saints while they ended up getting a garbage time touchdown at the end to score 10 points when it really mattered. The Denver Broncos were up on this team 33-3. We're going to break down the great news that we got out of this game, look ahead to how the playoffs are not just a possibility, but I think an inevitability as you see what this defense did tonight and you see the steps forward that Bo Nix made. We're going to break it all down and so much more in this video. If you're new to the channel, I'm Ben. I'm a diehard Denver Broncos fan who never stopped believing, and if you like the Broncos too, helps me out a ton if you would like and subscribe. So all of the haters and the doubters are going to write this win off as like, oh, well, that was supposed to happen. No one thought the Saints were actually going to win. Well, actually, they did. And at the start of this week, the New Orleans Saints were actually 2-point favorites on a lot of odds makers' websites. There were so many Broncos fans who were like, you're kidding me, right? That by the time this game tipped off, or kicked off rather, it was a 1-point Denver Broncos were favored to win. But no one predicted us to be up by 30 points when it actually mattered, except for us who actually followed this team and know that this defense is elite and know that when Pat Surtain is in and healthy, there's no way the Chargers scored 23 points on us last week, and him going out and Vance not having a plan for it is why they were able to do what they did to us in the first half. But what happened in the second half of that game last week was real, and that was what the real Broncos were. And when Vance Joseph had a whole week to prepare of not having Pat Surtain, we were up to the task. Just a couple high-level things here. Denver Broncos Twitter was incredible. Massive shout to all the tweets I'm going to show and kind of break down here. DNVR is doing a great job covering it. It is very, very encouraging to me as a Broncos fan, and it should be to you as well, that if you take a look at 3 of our past 5 games that we have only allowed 10 or fewer points, tonight truly should have been 3 points. And you can make arguments that if there were not boneheaded penalties, that it really would have been 0 points, and that would have been incredible to do a shutout on the road. The other thing that no one is really talking about is just how much hate there is for Sean Payton in New Orleans amongst those team members, amongst the coaching staff. We heard Dennis Allen take shots at Sean Payton earlier in the season. So the team was amped up for this. It's how we felt when we brought back our throwbacks and how amped up the crowd was when we brought back those sweet powder blues Chargers, like the sweet blue with the Broncos D on it. Like, that's how they were feeling about this game. And so to let the air completely out of the sails and to control every aspect of the game, you really cannot understate that. Like, blowouts like this don't happen. We've been in some stinkers on Thursday Night Football, and we haven't gotten blown out like that other than, our blowout loss last year to the Miami Dolphins, and we've been a totally different team like that since then. On top of the fact that our defense has been just pitching shutout after shutout and playing incredible. If you take a look at our past 2 of our past 3 games, we've put up over 30 points, and that's been on incredible defenses. And while we ran the ball at will tonight, it isn't like the New Orleans Saints are necessarily a turnstile there. That they showed the graphic on screen that they're the 20th best rushing defense in the league. So this isn't like you're playing an all-time historically bad rushing defense. They are a top 20, even though they are in that 20 spot. Defensive team against the run. They wanted it bad. You saw interviews with players before the game talking about how bad they wanted this and how bad they thought they could win. You got a coach on a hot seat. This was a game that I think this win is going to be the turning point for the Denver Broncos season because we're over 500. We're a game away from the win total that Vegas had us at the start of the year, which was 5 points. Remember, we're supposed to be the worst team in the league. The worst team in the league does not go on a short week and blow out another team. Like, that's what I've been saying here since day one, and it makes me like I'm 99% happy and super pumped, and then 1% furious at the national media. And even just hearing how Herb Street and Al Michaels are calling that game, they're like, well, now we're going to start talking about Bo Nix like he's Caleb Williams. Yeah, we've been telling you that. Now, the Broncos really, if they get to that 9 wins, they can make the playoffs. Yeah, we've been telling you that, dude. Don't try to act like you've been Bo leaving this whole time, because you haven't. You really haven't. So taking a look at this, the road to a 10-win season, it is very, very, very much attainable. If our defense keeps playing like that, you also got to remember, we did that performance, holding them to 3 points for all that game except for garbage time, without the best defensive player in football now that Aidan Hutchinson is out, because Pat Surtain is the best player in football, and we were able to hold them to 3 points without him. Saw some amazing inside linebacker work. I was pretty terrified when Singleton went out. Like, ooh, can Barton step up and do this? Yeah, he can, and he like eclipsed the best game that we've seen from Singleton. Then seeing Quan Alexander in there, but then seeing Shanag get some run. Like, this defense is legit. And taking a look at this, we now have 10 days of rest, getting healthy, seeing Browning out there, seeing this offensive line keep Bo Nix spotless, immaculate jersey, his white jersey. He looked cleaner than mine does. And seeing McGlinchey back, did not miss a beat, looks fantastic, looks like the guy we paid him to be. And so we have 10 days now to prepare for a team that this New Orleans Saints team beat like 40-10 or something like that. So we have them next week, and then we have a hard stretch where we go to Baltimore, to Kansas City. I don't think those are necessarily losses right off the bat. If our defense plays like this, we will be in both of those games, and Bo Nix is going to have to step up and make some pretty big strides, but he's a big-time gamer, you guys, and we're going to break down some of his throws, some of his questionable throws, some of his great throws later on in the week, but I don't think those games are necessarily losses right off the bat. Then we have the Atlanta Falcons at home. That's going to be a great game. I think we match up extremely well against a Kirk Cousins who's not mobile. The only time Spencer Rattler gave any issues to us was when he was able to evade the sack. And coming off an Achilles injury, he is a very pocket passer, and he's not going to be able to step up and avoid the rush. So we're going to be in the backfield all day. We showed today that we stopped one of the best running backs in the league, Alvin Kamara. We then get to play the Vegas Raiders again, who there's talk that they're shipping out Crosby. They are in a death spiral. We get to play the Cleveland Browns, who might actually be the next easiest game on the schedule, I think, is the Cleveland Browns, who are also in sell mode. We get a bye week. We get to play the Indianapolis Colts at home after a bye. I love that matchup. That's a win. And then a game against the LA Chargers. I'm telling you, if we played the LA Chargers for 10 more quarters on Friday, or on Sunday, we would have beat them because we had figured them out, and I believe that to my core. So I don't think that's even a loss. Cincinnati on the road is going to be hard at the end of December there, and then Kansas City at home. So there is a very, very doable path to 10 wins for this Broncos team. I think 9 games. I said from day one of the offseason, the moves that we made, that I think our floor is 9 games, and you now heard Kirk Herbstreit predict that tonight and act like he's been saying it all along. No, bro, you were saying that this team is the worst team in football going into this. Also, as people are trying to discount this game, like, oh, it doesn't matter, they were banged up, it is incredible to see what our defense did with a bunch of guys that the rest of the league had given up on. And this is a testament to why George Payton still has a job, that there was not a single first-round pick on our defensive side of the ball, and that is wild to me because Pat Surtain is out. And so we were able to hold a team to 3 points for all the meaningful snaps of that game without having a first-rounder on defense, and I think that we saw what this Broncos defense can be. We had a game that we should have won, and we won it, and that should have us all insanely hyped. A couple other awesome stats from this game that are great is that we put up better rushing numbers than we had seen in a long time, and I think all of the Javonte is out and he's done and he'll never be his former self anymore. All that talk has kind of been put to the wayside because he looked explosive again, and the offensive line opened holes, but it wasn't, there was that one touchdown pass I think I could have run through, or the one touchdown run I think I could have run through that hole, but there were times where he was getting hit in the backfield and still busting out 10-yard runs, and so that was incredible to see. Us put up as many rushing yards as we did back in 2018 against the Cincinnati Bengals. That's got to be insanely exciting. Seeing Nick Bonito, we are in a place now, you guys, with Baron Browning, Jonah Ellis, Jonathan Cooper, and Nick Bonito. I called them a platoon of pass rushers, and people laughed at that. Well, that is proven true, as we had 4 sacks tonight. Zach Allen getting one. Nick Bonito was in the backfield all stinking night long. And you truly, if the Detroit Lions are handing out draft picks, do you need all 4 of those guys? And I think for a long playoff push, you need depth there. But if we want to load up to try to bring in some more talent for Bo, Cortland Sutton was pretty much a disappointment tonight in the fact that he was only targeted on the one play that was he missed the throw. It was a kind of a high throw on him, and it didn't matter because there was defensive holding on the play. Audric Estime, we had hoped to see a lot more of him, and he was like had a ton of explosiveness and his average yards per carry were incredible, but he fumbled the ball again. And so now you're talking 2 fumbles that he's had in only 3 games, and that's limited action. And so he needs to learn how to really hang on to that ball with 2 hands. And the dude is massive. Like, the ball looks like me holding this ball in his hands. It's like, I wouldn't fumble this no matter what, dude. And I don't know. That's something that was a low point. So I think the only low points were the fact that we didn't see Courtland Sutton, but we also didn't have to throw the ball 50 times like we've had to in the past. I'm going to talk more later in the week here. But just looking at this, the Denver Broncos have the Carolina Panthers and 10 days rest, and we're going to be talking about being 2 games over 500, hitting our win total by the end of October, which is something I told you was going to happen, and that's something that I think we all can believe in. Let me know, what was your biggest takeaway from tonight's game? How you feeling? How hyped are you? A scale from 1 to 10, how hyped are you about this game? I think playoffs are happening, and we can all believe in that. I got to be at work in 5 hours, but it is worth it.